Okay, are we ready? Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, August the 23rd, City of Griffin Commission meeting. I will do the invocation, and Commissioner Ward will do our pledge. Please stand. Father, we are here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in the performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just to the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Let's turn and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, one of our first orders of business tonight is to recognize Will Stevens of the Griffin-Spalding Airport as the July 2011 Strongest Link Award recipient. Airport Director Robert Moe will address.
Good evening, y'all.
Good evening.
Stay on. I have with me here Will Stevens. He's our senior ground lineman out at the airport. I had this big, long thing I was going to read, but my boss told me if I read it, he'd not get evaluation next go-around. So I will be real short. Will handles, well, let me step back up. He's been with us for about 5 years, a little bit longer than I've been here. We got 3 employees out at the airport, Will, myself, and Martin. Martin handles all the business stuff, all the inside stuff, and Will handles all the outside stuff, everything on the airfield, and I handle everything else. So with that being said, Will maintains the airfield, and his primary focus, all our focus out there, is basically the safe operation for all the public transient and base customers that pass through our airfield. His primary focus, again, being safety. With that, he maintains the fuel quality system in such a manner that we have one of the highest quality systems in the region. And we just passed a fuel quality inspection by our supplier, and we did very well. So he maintains all the equipment, he maintains the fuel quality, all the navigational aids. Anything that breaks, Will figures out a way to get it fixed without us having to go to a main supplier or somebody. It would cost us a tremendous amount of money. He manages to keep us going with the shoestring budget, not criticizing anything, but but he keeps us going. And,
well, what I really like about your nomination was that you mentioned the fact that when the ancient equipment that he maintains eventually fails.
And it does. even in bad weather or 2:30 in the morning, he gets out there and he fixes it and makes sure that the life flight operation still has what they need, the sheriff's department still has what they need, and they continue their operation. So with that, I'd like to present to you Mr. Will Stevens. Here's your strongest link in the chain award plaque. If you get around over here, we'll turn it. Awesome. Here's got the chain there. Go ahead. And I didn't tell him this, but he has to come back next month. Will never smiles. It's going to be fun watching him ride with that on his motorcycle back to wherever he's coming. Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will, did you want to say anything? Hey, he's very shy.
Okay. Well, very good. We're very proud of you, Will. All right. At this time in our meeting, it's time for citizen comments. I will open the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for a public hearing or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for resolution. Having said that, is there anyone on my left who would like to come forward and make a citizen comment? Okay, is there anyone on my right who would like to come forward and make a comment? Okay, then we'll go on with our meeting. Our next item of business is a public hearing. Public hearings are conducted to allow the public comment on specific advertised issues such as rezoning ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the City Commission. We are going to receive comments regarding a request to rezone 5.16 plus or minus acres located along Mount Zion Road from low-density residential B, LDRB, to Planned Commercial District, PCD. Director of Planning and Zoning and Development Services, Frederick Gardner, will address. Good evening, Frederick.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. This is rezoning application 11 REZ02, request for rezoning from low-density residential, LDRB, to planned commercial district development, PCD, for 5.16 acres. The applicant, Sofan Group, is requesting rezoning of the property located along Mount Zion Road, consisting of 5.16 acres plus or minus combined acres, because right now they're in separate parcels. The request is to rezone the property for a Kroger food store consisting of 123,000 square feet. The Kroger's food store, when constructed, should provide up to 70 to 80 additional jobs from the current store, which occupies right around 120-something employees. Staff recommended approval of the request with conditions. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval of the request with the similar conditions, and there are 8 conditions. 1, the primary identification sign located along Highway 16 shall be a ground sign, no pole sign, incorporating materials to match the principal building, which is the Kroger. Number 2, developer builder shall incorporate the former Backyard Burger site into this project. The pole sign shall be changed to a if they're able to, the pole sign should be changed to a monument sign. That'll be 10 feet in height and 40 square feet in area. Number 3, all new buildings, including pillars at the fuel station, shall be constructed of brick, stone, stucco, and a combination thereof, to be approved by the planning and development staff. Number 4, developer builder shall incorporate 2 canoe aisles, parking aisles at the entrance into the Kroger to facilitate safe pedestrian movements. Number 5, developer builder shall install screening walls, masonry to block the loading dock areas. Number 6, developer builder shall install planted buffer along the southern property boundaries adjacent to existing residential homes consisting of 3 rows of staggered Leland cypresses. Number 7, buildings shall have architectural features that conceal rooftop equipment such as HVAC units from public view. And number 8, the building shall incorporate clearly pronounced recesses and projections, as well as a highly visible customer service entrance, canopies, porticos, overhangs, peak roof forms, and display windows. And the applicant, Sofran, is here to answer any questions you may have.
Right. I go back to 1 and 2. The pole sign, is that a backyard burger sign?
Yes, it's an existing sign, and if they're able to incorporate that, this is part of the development, we would want them to replace that pole sign and put a monument sign down. Right now, that property would be allowed to get up to 80 plus square feet in sign area.
But but in number 1, we say no pole sign.
That's for the actual primary sign that actually governs the Kroger's itself.
So you're saying the backyard burger sign is grandfathered in?
Currently, and if they're able to incorporate it as part of this development, we would like for them to just change it and put in a monument style type sign. It's a more attractive sign, and if they were able to sell it off, we don't want someone to come in and replace it with a higher sign, because they would be able to do so under the ordinance. We want the Kroger site to be the main attractive site for everybody rather than the adjacent out parcel.
This is quite an attractive development. There are 8 conditions that you read. The builder developers okay with all 8 of them?
Yes, they were. The Planning and Zoning Board, these are the same conditions to approve at the Planning and Zoning Board. They had no objections at that time.
Okay.
On the item 8, in terms of the different characteristics of the building that they're going to build is like the picture that's in our packet.
It's going to be similar to that type of building. Right now, the building that's being proposed is a little larger than the one that you see in the picture. The picture denotes the Kroger center up in, Sugar Hill, Gwinnett County. It's gonna be a similar style. It's kinda laid out similar to our building in terms of architectural features. We just wanna make sure that those types of features are transferred into this development.
And then the buffer on the back side, the fencing, how tall is that supposed to be?
We asked that, one of the things that they're doing is obviously the loading dock. One of the conditions governs the loading dock area, but what you don't see on the site plan that's given you is there's going to be an elevation difference between where the store is and where the existing residential are that are located that are fronted along Poplar Street. They'll actually be somewhat higher than the actual store itself. So they're going to cut, backfill with a retaining wall. What we're asking them to do is when they build the loading dock, put an adjacent wall there to block that sound, because most times deliveries happen in the morning or in the evenings, and we just don't want the sound getting out. But it shouldn't, but we add that as an additional condition.
And then the Leland cypresses will go above that wall across the back?
They'll go above that wall. So what you're going to have is you're going to have the store that's down here, the elevation of the homes that front on Poplar Street up here, but along with that, a row of Leland cypresses, which will basically screen the development, the top of the development from the back of these homes, unless you actually go out and look down. But it'll also block any sound that comes from, obviously, changing of the garbage bins, and delivery should be blocked as well.
Will the sides of the building match the architectural style in the front of the building, since you got the... It should be denoted to meet all the architectural requirements, same type materials, brick, stone, stucco, any combination, how they build it, based upon the design that you see it on page 2 of your staff report. Because you got the highways on one side and Lowe's is on the other side. Yes.
Roger, I believe it's going to be a plus for the city of Griffin. Not only that, it's going to be adding 70 more jobs. The people are hurting to work at this time. That's going to be outstanding.
All right, this is a public hearing. The floor is open for any comments from the audience. So if, at this time, if you would like to come forward and make any comments, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Again, we'll go left and right. Anyone on my left like to come forward and make any comments? This is a public hearing. Okay, anyone on my right? Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yes, you sure can.
Frederick, in the UDC, in the development agreement part of this, it has the requirement to have an adaptive reuse or a demolition plan. Has that been submitted?
Well, the new UDC hasn't been adopted, so...
Is that not in the prior format?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And so some of the conditions that you see that are placed in the staff report are actually requirements from the UDC. That was not one we transferred over to, but if the board see fit to want to add that as an additional, we can, and if the applicant is agreeable to it, we can ask them.
Can you go into a little more detail on that?
Basically what it does is it somewhat protects us if the store is vacated on how they're going to reuse the building. Currently, if you look at what's happening with most Walmarts, when they outgrew the old Walmart format, they hung on to those buildings. They stopped them from being leased to anyone that would be in competition with them, and based on the size of those buildings, obviously, anyone that was interested in it would be a competitor, so Walmart hold on to a lot of those structures. Over the course of the last 15 years or so, communities have been trying to figure out ways to combat what they saw was the Walmart effect when they left the old small primary stores for the superstores. How do you make those stores, and when the superstores at some point become no longer the new mold that they follow, how do you make those buildings in a way designed to be adaptively reused? Some of the conditions we put on there with the change in the facade obviously allow for certain areas of the building to then be walled off at some point and become a new storefront or maximum storefronts individually. If you look at the picture in the staff report on page 2, you'll see where the building recesses and move back and forth, that if this building is vacated, we won't have to look for a tenant to go into the 123,000 square feet, but that building could be chopped up into different pieces, and obviously this one could be a different business. The front that comes out could be a different building, and the other one that comes in could be chopped up and adaptively reused, without having to try to market it to one person is coming in with a 123,000 square foot building.
Right.
That's
Who owns
kind of the premise behind that requirements.
Who owns the current location where they are now?
That's a question I think, you want to ask. The current location is owned by Equity One,
Equity,
which is a
okay.
large holding firm for commercial properties.
So they will still have it, albeit maybe an empty building. From the time of groundbreaking to, what are we, how long are we talking about to completion? Hi.
Good evening. I'm Robbie Boggs with the Sofran Group. We're looking to break ground at the beginning of next year, January, February of 12, and would have the Kroger store open for the holiday season, October of 12.
Wow. Very good, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Personally, I would like to see an adaptive reuse plan or that demolition plan. I think I was a little more attracted in our UDC to the demolition plan part of it, and not necessarily in a short time frame. But I think this is the first large retail box that's come in a while, I guess, at least since I've been on here. So it's one of those things where had we had this already adopted in place, this would have been a part of the process. So I hate to have it left out of where we're intending to go, just because of timing when we don't have these come up too often. That's just my...
That's your editorial comment.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would disagree with you. It would be nice, to have had something, a regulation, but we didn't.
We have come quite a ways, though, so.
Oh, I think we have also. I'm not,
Because compared to what Walmart built up there in that big 4 acres of concrete and no trees, this is a much better development. We're getting there.
It is. You just want to protect for 20 years or 30 years down the
Amen.
road.
I agree with you.
To comment on that a little bit, one of the differences with this store versus the current store is obviously Kroger will be their own tenant. This will be a Kroger-owned
this is your
store.
own tenant.
So the incentives on their part will be a bit different.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, sir. Frederick, are you through?
To answer Commissioner McLemore's question, I think in conversations with Robbie, he doesn't see the fact that they'll be actually developing the store prior to the adoption of this ordinance, and I think this will be forthcoming pretty soon, Drew. We should be bringing this back to you pretty soon, so this will actually get adopted before they submit plans for us for development, so they'll have to adhere to it. But if you want to add it as a condition, it'll be something that we added on as well. You don't have any problems with that.
Kroger has reviewed the draft of the new ordinance and the new UDC, and they have been making arrangements and planning to build under that, so.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other comments? All right, if not, we'll now go into our consent agenda, and we will need to consider approval of minutes of the regular scheduled meeting on August the 9th, 2011.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve those minutes as corrected and received this morning.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second that we approve the minutes as corrected this morning, and that we're voting on tonight. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Item number 4, consider approval of the second and final reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin to authorize Sunday sales of packaged alcoholic beverages and to provide for the call of a special election to ratify Sunday sales.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, and all those opposed? 6 and 1, Judy. Thank you. All right, we're now down to our regular agenda. We're to consider a request to rezone 5.16 plus or minus acres located along Mount Zion Road from low-density residential B to planned commercial district CCD.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the rezoning as requested with the 8 conditions as specified.
Or do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Item number 6, consider a budget amendment in the amount of $17,200 for the Griffin Fire Department. Do we have any questions about this that Marcus can answer?
I do not. I move that we approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, very good. It's unanimous. Thank you. Item number 7, consider awarding bid and construction contract to Kimmy Construction Company Incorporated for the relocation of water and sewer utilities for the project NH 000-0001-0447 Spalding, GDOT PI number 342-661, 6th Street Bridge in the amount of $318,322. Anybody want to ask Brent any questions?
If not, Madam Chair, I move we approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Item number 8, consider renewal of meter reading services agreement between the City of Griffin and TruCheck Incorporated for 1 year, retroactive to July 1, 2011.
I move we approve with them. I do have one question.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and now it's open for discussion.
All right, is this going to be the last renewal? We'll be ready to go? Well, we didn't figure he knew the answer.
No, sir, you'll probably have these for a number of years. Even though electric plans to do a mass deployment, we will have water agreements for probably the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay, water, I forgot that. But electric, we're going to be past that in a year, you think?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Bill. Item number 9, consider approval of lease agreement. Oh, that's right, we talked about it. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. All right, item number 9, consider approval of lease agreement between the City of Griffin and TruCheck Incorporated for 12-month lease of Suite 114 and 1 Griffin Center effective October the 1st, 2011, in the amount of $9,116.64 per year.
I move we approve the lease.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Remove from the table and consider request of Spalding County Collaborative for Families and Children for $10,000 matching fundings for the Strengthening Communities Fund Nonprofit Capacity Building Program Grant. City Manager Kenny Smith will address.
Madam Chair, I move that we remove this from the table for consideration.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to remove this from the table for consideration. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, very good. Now, Kenny, will you address this?
Yes, ma'am. Over the last couple of years, we've had a request from the collaborative, and both Will Doss and Regina Abbott are here to address this. 2 years ago, we didn't have the monies budgeted. It was tabled a time or two. We got some additional information. Last year, we put $10,000 in the budget. It never was requested, so this year we didn't put the money back into the budget, and now we have a request for it. These are matching funds for a grant that was acquired by the collaborative, I guess, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. So Will is here to answer any questions you may have. Also, we gave you a handout about a couple of different options as to how that money can be appropriated. There was some question last time about whether $10,000 could be basically, I don't know if donated is the correct word or not, but given to the collaborative, and an alternative in option number 1 would be pay some invoices. If I'm reading this correctly, pay some particular invoices that are due as a part of the grant match. And Will, you probably can explain that a lot better than I can.
Well, right, I think we need to clarify the constitutional gift and gratuities clause from our attorney before we go any further.
Simply put, the Constitution says you cannot give away public money unless you're authorized to do so. And generally, it requires that there be a statute that says that you could give public funds to a specific entity or group. And if this is not another governmental entity, and if you're not receiving service back for what you are asked to give the match for, it's probably not a permissible transaction. Now, I'll be glad to look at it in more detail and come back to you at a future meeting if that's what you would like to do, if you're inclined to do this. But what I'm hearing from Kenny is that the fund's not even budgeted this year.
Right.
So you would have to find funding and appropriate that, which is really a secondary issue.
and it's awful early in the fiscal year to start tapping into the commission contingency, because we've got 11 months that we don't know what's going to be coming down the pike. Well, to save a lot of time, I move that we retable this item so that you can come back and give a clarification on the gratuities clause so that we do not get in any trouble.
Well, I think Will's got an answer for that, but
the University of Georgia was very much in the same similar situation, that they did not want to give the money directly to the collaborative itself, and were able to pay the invoices that were due to that, so that would take place. And so those three items that are listed in option one would give you that option. The collaborative is a quasi-governmental entity and an authoritative authority according to the legislature here in town. So I believe that that would constitute the ability to be able to do that if you wanted to choose to do option number two. We are a little bit of a specific timeline. This grant, the end of this grant, it comes at the end of September. And so we have been working towards getting all of these ducks in a row, so to speak. Most all of you are very familiar with Partners for Prosperous, Griffin Spalding, and the work that we've been doing together, and there's been a lot of great work that's been working on this issue. We are in the final stages of that, and all of the partners have been able to meet their obligations at this point in time.
I thought that this was a match for your stimulus grant that you received.
Exactly. That is the $1 million grant that came in.
That came to the 501c3.
That is correct, and that is being dispersed. Right. That is being dispersed out, and so there are, I'm not sure the exact number in the city of Griffin, but several nonprofits that are receiving funds through that are strengthening and encouraging. You have the Spalding Samaritans that are receiving funds, the Education Foundation receiving funds, I mean, there's several organizations within the city limits that are being affected by this, and all of those organizations are being strengthened tremendously.
But what is the purpose of the stimulus? Was it to provide jobs? Was it to train people to be able to get a job?
The purpose of it was so that, yes, that they could be empowered to get jobs. We have organizations that have been able to hire people, so jobs have been created through this. We have organizations now that are stronger and are able to now educate people so that they can get the jobs that they need. I know that one of the organizations is, I can't remember the exact name, but the micro enterprise, the SMMC, is, they were able to advertise a little bit in their classes. I actually attended one of the classes that had about 10 people in it, or 6 people in it, and they're now have 70 people that are going to be in this class.
Right.
So
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So these organizations are stronger, and so we're doing exactly what the grant was intended to be done. That was the plan of it, and that's what they wanted us to do, and so we're just at the final stages of trying to make that happen. This grant has also opened the doors that we now have the opportunities that are taking place through the Housing Authority is making some applications for some grants that would have a resource center that is going to be taking place, and I don't want to use walking track, but there's some type of, the word for the walking area? The recreational trail that will be developed, and because of this grant happening and taking place, we're just going to be in a position to where we're going to be short the cash match that we had to do.
Right. Well, and I've got a list of some of the places that you have here in Griffin and in Hampton and Barnesville and Manchester, etc. If this board could take a vote, I would probably have to ask Mr. Morrow to have to recuse himself, because the micro enterprise system is something that he started and promoted and sits on the board of. I would think that would be a conflict of interest for any vote to take place there. I don't know about the education, the partners in education. That may not be part of the school system, which employs Ryan. So, as far as a vote, I think we've got our legal counsel here that would have to really, and if anybody has done any recruiting or trying to get people to do this and they didn't identify themselves as an agent under the new lobbying laws, there could be some conflict of interest there. So I would like to go back to what I have suggested so that this can be thoroughly researched. on our timetable, that we table this one more time so that all of the questions that we have can be answered. And I leave it out there.
Let me make a comment. As my
Okay.
memory serves me, when this first came up, this board basically approved of submitting the grant, and I thought at the time we voted to approve the 10. It turns out we did not specifically. We just agreed that the city would support. Is that what you remember? That we would give 10,000 along with the school district and the county and some others participate in this. Start off with the Partners for a Prosperous Griffin, that MOU, and this grant all came from that.
Correct.
And we encouraged this to go forward. The grant was awarded for $1 million, which came into our city and our community and helped a lot of organizations. I don't know that I have a conflict. I might have. I didn't consider that possibility. But a lot of organizations in this city benefited from these federal funds and improved their operation. SMMC is a good example, where we expanded our services to train folks to get jobs and start businesses. So it's been $1 million worth of benefit to our community.
And we're able to leverage that $1 million to bring in more grants.
So I feel we basically have a moral obligation, since we encouraged you to go forward and supported this, and we never did put up our money. So I think we had to put up our money.
Well, I abstained because at that time I was serving as the City Commission representative to the collaborative, so I did not take part in any of the votes on that, and I think the minutes bear that out there. We go back to the legal issue about the fact we are being asked to contribute to a 501c3. This is taxpayer funds. This is no different than someone saying, well, I don't want you to, like my 2 cents this morning, saying that they didn't want me to tell them how to spend their charitable dollars toward a church. Well, that wasn't the discussion here at all 2 weeks ago. That was just some kind of smart-aleck remark trying to make a point, I think, a soundbite. I think this is very clear. We have had our city attorney saying that there is a possible conflict for this board.
Even if you use option 1?
I don't think, it kind of offends me that you say, if you can't give me the money outright, pay my bills. That offends me a little way. That's just another way around. That's going in the back door instead of the front door. I'd rather go in the front door, personally. So, but it's up to this board. So I have made the motion that I would like to see us table this one more time until we can get some clear understanding of it.
I second.
And some discussion, if we can get Drew's opinion, as well as the list of all the organizations, to make sure that none of us have any conflicts.
Okay.
I know Chance House, they rent from us, and some other things, so it's always merited
Okay.
pays.
I can definitely provide you with a list of everyone that has received.
I think that would help us, and some accountability. I know, I've looked at this, and I know some of these organizations have closed down. And I wonder what happens to the stimulus funds that were awarded to these particular organizations. And so I think that would solve a lot of situations. We can go in the front door, and if we're allowed to do this, we can do this. All right, is there any other discussion?
I just think we got some wonderful people working in that organization, and I would like to see them have a fair chance. So I think, too, I agree, too, that we should table this and make sure we get everything clear.
Okay.
Drew, how long do you think it would take to, are we talking next meeting that we could take?
Oh, I think clearly by the next meeting.
You need to
Okay.
know by the
Probably
end of
before then.
September is your goal.
That would be fine.
Okay, all right, we have a motion. Any other?
The motion is to table it till the next meeting.
Till September 13th.
Do you want to table it to September the 13th?
I second it.
All righty,
Well,
to September the 13th. All right, we have a motion on the board to table this request until our meeting our first meeting in September. All those in favor? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, all those opposed? All right, it's a 6-1 vote, Judy. Thank you.
And so who do I need to get with to make sure I get all the
I
information?
would say Kenny.
Okay.
Kenny and Drew. They are the ones who, Kenny is the one who advises us whether there's money to do this. Drew is the one that keeps us out of hot water.
Understandable.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I'm confused.
Okay, at this time, we have concluded our regular agenda. We are now ready for our city manager report.
Exciting news, in addition to the 70 or so jobs that Kroger has the ability to bring us. We've also got the groundbreaking for HK Logistics, which will be held next Tuesday. That will be at 10 o'clock. It's a $30 million capital investment and another 70 jobs. So
How many?
that 70, that's 70 on top of 70 from Kroger, and I think Caterpillar about a month ago
Announced 200.
announced about 200. So even with the economy like it is, I think we have a lot to be thankful for.
What was the name, Kenny? What was the name again?
HK Logistics. That's at 375 Green Valley Road, and the groundbreaking will be next Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and you're certainly all invited by the Development Authority. That'll be 160.
When will it be?
Next Tuesday, the 30th at 10 o'clock.
Is that in the newest portion?
No, ma'am, that's where the old Southern Wise building
Green Valley.
Right before you cross the
Yes.
track down.
And this one's in the city limits.
used to be,
Ahoshisaki.
so it used to be Southern Wise, I don't know what it was before that, but they're demoing that building and building a new building.
It's outside too.
No, I thought it
It's outside.
Southern Wise is.
It's just past,
Yeah, I believe it's
Boyd's
part of-
Crossing.
But we do have water and sewer because I think that was presented to us.
I
in
believe
that.
it's part of Green Valley, which is outside
Yeah,
the
which
the
is-
city limits.
Right.
But
okay.
it's good news for the economy in our area. The Land Bank Authority, under the direction of their new executive director, will have their first meeting and their new board member, and that will be Thursday night at 6:30 at their offices on North Hill Street.
Did they appoint another, we appointed one, have they appointed another one?
They have not
No,
yet,
so
they
they-
weren't able
It's
to
not,
meet
but that's
for
on
lack
their
of
agenda.
quorum.
They're going to discuss the new Land Bank Authority laws and their ability to appoint a fifth member. Citizens Government Academy starts Thursday, September the 8th. Of course, you're all invited. Introductions will be that first night. We've got a very large class again, and it looks like we're having to turn some people away.
Good.
We're more than full, so we appreciate your support on that. We have a 6th Street Bridge pre-construction meeting at DOT Thursday, so hopefully at that meeting we'll be able to tell you when all that construction will start on 6th Street Bridge after that meeting.
Are the power lines on that gonna be above ground, or are they gonna be tied to the?
On
Currently, the power lines
the
run over the
bridge.
bridge, are the power lines gonna be,
Uh,
okay.
Okay, is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
Drew?
Have nothing tonight.
Commissioner Bailey?
Nothing.
Okay, Commissioner Morrow?
I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow, I'm gonna miss that groundbreaking, so y'all carry it off with a plum, have fun.
You going to high seas?
I'm going to Seattle to visit my daughter and
Oh, the
granddaughter.
friendly skies, huh?
And, not driving, actually.
He's a glutton for punishment.
And I hope to get back for the Citizens Academy, and hope we'll be back that day, so if I don't make it, you won't see me. The sheriff's race is a spirited race, it's certainly good for the local economy, but I'm seeing an awful lot of sheriff signs scattered all over right-of-ways and stuff, so I guess our code folks are starting to clean up some of those.
We're trying. Those things are sprouting up.
Like chinchbug.
Yeah.
Well, I
We're
love
trying
to-
our best.
I love seeing all that money being spent, but they're certainly clearing up the right-of-ways.
Yeah, so
Well,
we're
it's
trying
like-
our best to keep them off the right of way.
Right, and keep the intersections free of, so you can see it pull out.
And that's,
That's the hard part, yes. Commissioner Holbert?
Where are we at on our sign on the North Expressway that's still flashing pretty?
Some
He's
people
flashing,
just
but not
can't
running.
leave well enough
He's coming to
alone.
court
Okay.
this Thursday.
On Thursday.
This
2 o'clock.
Thursday.
It's so bright. Chicken. Will, any comments?
No comment.
Ms. Ward?
I have nothing.
Okay. The only comment I have is, and I guess this is for Dr. Keller, I'm getting complaints from golfers that the grass is awful high in places it shouldn't be awful high. And
They just
so-
keep their ball in the fairway.
Well, I think this is, actually, I think this is at the,
Is that right?
no, I think it's at the base of the green. It's not, by the way, it wasn't Harry, because Harry plays down in
He's always in the
Barnesville.
green.
area's always around the whatever, the green, yeah. But anyway, how close are you to replacing Kelly? Did you have a lot of applications? I would think so. All right, well, I will deliver that to Wayne McBride and to the men at the golf course. Yes, go ahead. Did you?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, go ahead.